everybody, welcome to BritYarn's podcast. BritYarn is number 11, I think this is, if you include some of the periscopes. I hope you're all well. Thank you very, very much for tuning in, for watching. Today is Thursday the 28th of October. Just come back from a very, very, very wet, soggy fizz walk. It's horrible today. It's just really, really, really grey. It's dark. It's wet, really wet. So I apologise if it's just, everything's just dark here as well. Like I say, thank you very much. This is a podcast about British Royal and about me, Isla. So today, just to chat to you a little bit about some news. I know there's been a few weeks gap, but it's sometimes difficult to actually squeeze in sort of doing these. We've got some news, a competition that we've got ongoing that some of you might already know about in our Ravelry group. A little bit of yarning news, a couple of new books, of which one of them I forgot to get down, so that was a bit silly of me. And I've got some finished objects. Hey! So, like I say, get yourself comfy. Today I have just got some Punjabi tea, just some everyday Thompson's Punjabi tea, I think it is. So I shall be slurping that throughout. Okay, so first of all, in our Ravelry group, the BritYarn Ravelry group, we've got a competition ongoing. And that is called the Absolutely British Britsock competition. And basically Britsock is October's yarn of the month, and Joy from the Knitting Goddess has very kindly offered to dye a special colourway for us. So basically the competition is, all you have to do is think of a colourway name and a couple of sort of maybe ideas for colours for something that is typically British. So it might be a food, it might be a location, it might be, a typical British saying, it might be the weather. So come up with a name and, give us a few ideas for colours and have a go. And basically the winner, Joy will dye up some Britsock for us, and the winner will receive a skein of that colourway, and then the rest of those skeins will go into the shop, into the BritYarn shop. That closes on the 31st of October, so get your thinking caps on for that one. And like I say, you've probably seen, again, if you follow the blog or if you're on Ravelry, the Britsock base is slightly changing. At the moment, all the stock that we've got for Britsock is the old base, which has got some BFL, British Blueface Leicester content on it. But due to just the sheer increase of demand for Blueface Leicester, suppliers are finding it quite hard, I think, to get it, and obviously the costs are rising. So Joy has done some research, and she has now using Polwarth from the Falkland Islands in Britsock in replacement of the Blueface Leicester. Now I've seen them both. I can't tell the difference. I generally can't, and I know a few people that Joy has spoken to have said the same thing. So I don't think you won't notice a difference. So that was that for the Britsock competition. So check that out. There's been some really, really, really good ideas. Some really clever, and not just clever, but there's been some really interesting, clever ideas where people have taken something and really gone with it. And then there's just like really straightforward things like fish and chips and all sorts. Some really good. So, other news then, we've got not only some new yarn as such, but we've got some additional colourways. You might remember, I think it might have been on a periscope actually, that I showed you some yarn that we had received from Chiller Valley. See if you can see that. So this is all the animals, so the alpaca and the Shetland sheep, they all live on a farm in Devon. And then they basically obviously get the yarn spun up, so it's all sort of local to them. And before, in the chunky, we just had the colour, the Storm Cloud, which is a really lovely grey. So we had that to start off with, and Storm Cloud has now been joined by these two, which is Mist. I hope you can see that because I can't see the screen now, which is Mist and Sandpiper. So, and these would be perfect for winter hats. I know Claire Devine has recently released some more tea collection hats, and these yarns would be absolutely perfect. So if I can get the third one up, this is when I start juggling. And now I just want to make sure you know that these are 100-gram balls. The labels do say 50 grams, but the lady who was labelling them put the wrong labels on, bless her. But they are, I mean, that one's got 100 grams on. So they are 100 grams, so don't worry about that. So yeah, so check them out. It is so lovely. We've got these in the Aran as well, and we've also got 100% alpaca in the Aran as well. And they're undyed, they're just the natural, if you can see that, they are just the natural colours. But they're in the shop now for you to have a purchase of. So yes, I do a lot. So other new stuff, we've got the Crochet Project Book 2. Now I will admit, we've got book 1 in already, like I said, we received book 2, I think it was a few weeks ago. Slightly different from book 1. In book 1, all the crochet shawls were for one skein of 4-ply yarn, so 100 grams, whereas these ones are a little bit bigger. So these are for 2 skeins, so you're obviously getting a bit bigger shawl. And there's some really, really nice ones. Let me just see if I can find. Yeah. Quite like that one. And that one was called Kingfisher. Yeah, Mist Kingfisher. Sorry. So yeah, so if you're a crocheter, then that's definitely worth a look. And they're really different from. Like I said, I can do basic crochet, but I'm by no means a crochet whiz. And what I really like about these shawls is that it's not. They don't look like sort of traditional crochet, so it's not in squares and things like that. They're just sort of, yeah, they're modern and they're very, very cool. So yes, that's book 2. I'm very interested and excited actually to see what else the Crochet Project ladies, which is Joanna Scrace and Kat Golden. I'm really excited to see what else they do fetch out. This is their second book. So yeah, I'm really interested to see if they do anything, if they maybe venture into garments or what. I'm not sure, but that'd be really interesting. So it's nice to see. I know we don't have a lot of crochet stuff at BritYarn, and that's probably my fault because I'm a knitter at heart, and so I think I do sort of struggle sometimes in terms of maybe what crocheters would like to see. So if you're a crochet and you're watching this and you're aware of any books that fit into BritYarn's Woolly Principles, then please drop me a message on Ravelry or in the Ravelry group. I'd be very interested to hear of anything that I might have missed. Other new books, and like I say, like an idiot, I haven't picked them up, but we're now stocking Rachel Coopy's Toasty, which is she's just released her second book at Yarndale. So we've got Toasty Volume 1 and Toasty Volume 2. Toasty is all about accessories. So there's hats, there's scarves, there's cowls, there's some gloves. They're all done in 4-ply yarn, and the yarn that's used throughout the book is Titus by Bahram U. But if you look in the sort of project threads, any 4-ply yarn is pretty much good to go. And I have seen, it was Yarndale, not this year, the year before, Louise, and I won't say a surname or anything, but there was a Louise there who had done one of the toasty hats in West Yorkshire Spinners' signature 4-ply. And when you just think, I just want to pinch that hat. And it was just perfect. The inside of it was just immense. I mean, I love colour work on the inside. So have a look at those books as well. And obviously, if you've got Titus in your stash, then go for it. Titus is a British yarn, by the way, that Bahram U have custom spun. But like I say, pretty much any 4-ply yarn. Probably something with a little bit of grip to it, because some of the patterns are sort of maybe colour work. So I think a silky contact sort of probably wouldn't work for some of the designs. But yeah, have a look. And all the patterns are in the shop as well, so you can see them there. So next up, more tea. I think it might have stopped raining. It's typical, isn't it, that? Yeah, I'm also, by the way, I've changed locations because in BritYarn, I will have a really tiny desk, which is fine if I've just got a laptop and I'm just typing away and that type of thing. But obviously when I've got like sort of things spread out to show you all, I just haven't got enough space, and I just felt so cramped, kind of rummaging and stuff. So yeah, I thought I would change where I am. So which does mean that if the postman comes, we might hear fizz barking, which is not a good thing. Hey. Also, before I go on, some of you last time asked what shawl I was wearing, and the shawl I was wearing last time was the S-Light shawl by Goodrun Johnson, and that is what I knit as part of the Knit British Hap-Along that I think pretty much everybody took part in. So apologies for not saying what that shawl was. I know I got a few questions from people just inquiring about what that was. And today I'm wearing, I'll stand up so I'll show you. Today I'm wearing, and the light shade, I am wearing my Colossus top. And that is a pattern by Joanne Scrace, same lady who's the Crochet Project lady, and that is in the Bletchley collection, which is an Eden Cottage Yarns pattern book, and the yarn is Eden Cottage Yarns Milburn 4-ply, which is a BFL and silk yarn. So yeah, so that is what I'm, not that you can see much of it, but that's what I'm wearing today. So FOs, I have a few. They're all small ones though, so maybe it's yeah. So first of all, on the last podcast I mentioned that we were starting, or we maybe started, the Great British Socks Away Cal in our Ravelry thread. And can I just say, if you've been joining in, that's been really brilliant. I've absolutely loved it. We've got a week and a bit left to run. The Cal finishes on the 8th of November. But it's been brilliant. There's been lots and lots of chatter. There's been some stunning socks already appear in the FO thread, and it's been really cool because there's been really experienced sock knitters getting in there, getting stuck in, but we've also had so many sock knitters that are new to sock knitting and are sort of taking the plunge. And the great thing about knit-alongs I've found is that people help each other. So just because I might not be able to be there and answer some of his questions, there's always somebody else that will jump in and help out. So there's been lots and lots and lots of sharing of hints and tips, lots of sharing about different heel types, and people offering suggestions, all sorts. It's been brilliant. So I just want to say a massive thank you if you have been taking part in that knit along. And I know it's not finished yet, so if you can whip up some socks in a week and a bit, then please join us. But yeah, it's a massive thank you for taking part, because it has been brilliant, and it's always really scary. This was my the first ever solo knit along for BritYarn, and you always are a little bit like, oh gosh, am I going to just be here by myself, knitting away on my socks? But just, yeah, thanks guys, you're awesome. Anyway, slightly sidetracked. These are my socks. Now, I've not put them on sock blockers, so I do apologise, because my sock blockers are blue, so I thought you're not going to see them if I put them on the sock blockers. Now, these are, I don't know, I can't pronounce these. These are phalanges. I'm really sorry, Claire Divine, if I pronounced that wrong. But basically, this is one of the patterns, one of the designs that's in Claire Divine's Sock Anatomy, which again you'll find in the shop. And in the Sock Anatomy, basically Claire explores different constructions for socks. So these were toe up, with what they call a Dutch heel. And then the cuff was really interesting actually, because normally with the cuff you would do like a really stretchy bind off, but with this one it's actually a sewn cuff. So you folded the cuff over and then got your needle and thread out. So yeah, really like these. They're my first lacy socks. I don't know if that's helping show you the lace work. They're my first lacy socks, and they're ankle socks. I was a little bit crafty because I wasn't sure if I could finish a pair of sort of normal size, normal length socks. So these are ankle socks. And the yarn is West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply in the Bleeberry Bonbon colourway. And thinking of that has just reminded me, I've not told you about some of the yarn, but I'll go back to that in a minute. Yeah, really love these. I think they're really fab. Obviously not really winter socks, but I wanted to try something just a little bit different. So yeah, quite chuffed with these. I must say, I did struggle with the heel. The heel is a Dutch heel, and that is where you end up having to do double wraps, and to sort of pick up sort of the second. There's 2 wraps you have to pick up, and I did struggle a little bit doing that. But you know, that's the thing with knitting into, especially with socks. You know, there's so many different techniques out there, and you know, I know in the thread, you know, some people can't get on with certain things, maybe due to a fit thing. But it's all new. It's all new stuff. So yeah, they're my socks. Awesome. So the other thing I have finished is my Lexi hat. I will try this on. If you've, like I say, again, if you've been following me on Instagram, you'd have seen this. So this is, like I say, it's Woolly Wormhead's Lexi design, and the yarn is West Yorkshire Spinners Jacob Aaron, and yeah, I just wanted something just to have a go at it. I'll try it on. Do excuse me if we have a bed. I'm not very good at putting hats on straight away. I always end up having to. It's the whole hair thing. But that gives you some idea. I apologise that I've got like hair issues and I probably look a bit of a clip at the moment. So yeah, so really interesting hat, very different to any of the hat I've made before in terms of its construction, because you knit this section first. I think the camera's doing weird things now because it's cream. And then you go on, you sort of pick up stitches and then knit the crown. Got some nice little buttons there. But yeah, I really love the Jacob yarn. It really shows off. I might take this off in a minute because it's doing weird things to the camera. Squeezing water. It's got really good definition. I'm going to see if I can show you. That's not too bad. It's got really great stitch definition, especially, and I was surprised actually because the yarn is quite loosely spun. So I was kind of surprised a little bit about that. And then it's really nicely shows off. Oh, sorry, the camera's not being too happy there. But it just really nicely shows off. Like you can see, I've not sewn in my ends. God, that's a bit slack, isn't it? So yeah, really pleased with that. I wore it when we was camping a few weekends ago, and yeah, it's definitely going to be a nice warm hat. And then I suppose kind of final FA, but I've got something else to show you in a bit. These are I'll try them on because it makes more sense. These are my Isabella gloves. And this is in the West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply. No, it's not. What am I talking about? I'm going crackers. Right, let me start again. These are the Isabella gloves, and it's knit in West Yorkshire Spinners Illustrious. Gosh, what am I like? So Illustrious is the yarn, the new yarn from West Yorkshire Spinners that I showed you a few weeks ago, and it's the blend of Falklands wool and British alpaca. So these have been, oops, broken nail. These have been sort of washed and blocked now. It's the first time I've done bobbles, and yeah, my first bobble in each one isn't very good. But apart from that, they're all fine. But yeah, I'm really, really happy with how these turned out. It's a stupidly soft yarn. It's really, really, really soft. But they're blocked really nicely. Let's see if I can show you. It's a little bit of a halo, but not much. But I think the cables show up really nicely. And what I did with these, and actually with the Woolly Wormhead, the Lexi hat, I cabled without a cable needle for the first time. Jolie from Jolie's Kitchen did a little tutorial, and I don't know why, I always thought cabling without a cable needle was really difficult and just like, wow, that's just, you know. And Jo, like I said, I managed to catch Jolie's tutorial on YouTube, and I was just like, that's actually really quite straightforward and simple. So I tried it first of all on my on the Woolly Wormhead hat, and I did slightly struggle doing it on here because the yarn was, like I said, it was quite loosely spun in places. And that isn't a criticism at all, but obviously when you're sort of trying to then pick up the stitches, and I'm quite a tight knitter as well, and so that caused a little bit more difficulty than perhaps I needed to have done. But on these hand warmers, I think they're called, these were, you know, I had no problems cabling at all with it. So yeah, really pleased with these. I've got loads of yarn left. I haven't weighed these actually. I don't think I've got enough yarn to do the matching hat. I think that'd be pushing it a bit too much. But yeah, very, very, very happy with those. So the pattern for these is in the Illustrious Pattern book, which is by Emma Wright. That's where that is. So just jumping back, I'm sorry, really disorganised, talking about new yarn, and I'm kind of wary about showing you this actually, because it flew out when I first got some in. This is a couple of new colourways by West Yorkshire Spinners, and this one is their limited edition Christmas colourway called Hollyberries. And then they're also fetching out very, very, very soon. They're fetching out some new bird shades, which some of you might have seen on social media, and some new solid shades to match. So the solid is one of the solid shades that's going to match one of the new bird shades, if that makes sense. But it just happens to tie in with this. So like I said, this is limited edition. Not as limited edition as what the Cornish tin was. I have got some balls left of this still in the shop. I am hoping next week, when I place another order for West Yorkshire Spinners, I'm hoping they'll still have some left in stock. But yeah, so if you wanted some Christmas socks, or to be fair, Christmas hats, I think there was one lady who bought some, and she was going to do a brioche hat. She bought both colours, and I thought brioche would be absolutely fab. Fab, that would work really, really well. But yeah, maybe a Christmas hat, Christmas socks, go wild. So yeah, just slightly out of order there. So they're my finished objects. That's the West Yorkshire Spinners. Checking my notes, I'm sorry everybody. Next, what's in the jam pan? And just in case you've not heard me before, what's in the jam pan is my whips, and I've called it what's in the jam pan because my whips are kept in a really old brass jam pan that was my husband's grand's, and so that's where I keep all my whips. So I've only got two to show you. I'm also knitting Mr. BritYarn some socks for Christmas, and he does occasionally watch this, so I'm not. They're not being shown, but it's a Claire Divine pattern that I'm doing for Mr. BritYarn. So first of all is my Talaverna top. This is by Amanda Collins, who's our print panda. Done quite a lot on this actually, and it's lace, so obviously it just looks pretty shocking to be fair on the screen, doesn't it? Because obviously it's lace, so once it's blocked it'll be fine. So I'm now up to the armpit, so what I now need to do is divide for the yoke. So yeah, cracking on with that. I had the mad idea last night that I'd like to try and get it finished for this weekend. On Sunday I'm meeting some knitting friends in York, and I thought, wouldn't it be nice to wear that over, like, you know, like a dress or something? Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm not entirely convinced I'm going to be able to do that, but we'll see. I'm going to give it a good go, I think. And the other main project on my needles is my Mayhe Shawl by Carrie Westerman. And this is in the Lincoln Longwool lace weight yarn. Oops, what's going up here? And I've got a tangle, everybody. Just want to make sure that I'm pulling that from the right thing. There we are. So I have just, I'm making a bit of a dog's dinner with this, aren't I? Let's get it right way around. So I finished the other night Chart A. I'm really, really excited to get this finished. That's like the centre point of the bottom. Really excited to get this finished. There's another 2 charts that I need to work through. But yeah, very, very, very excited to get this finished and blocked. I think it'll be yeah, really interesting to see how this Lincoln Longwool changes, because it's obviously it's a long wool, but it's not. It doesn't feel it doesn't knit the same as, for example, Wensleydale long wool. It's got a bit more sort of substance to it, a bit more texture, and it's quite sort of rigid. Rigid isn't the right word, but it's not drapey, if that makes sense. And I am knitting it at a really loose gauge, as you can see. You know, it's so yeah. So blocking is going to be, I think, very, very, very exciting. So yeah, so that is that. I have got a few other bits and bobs on the needles. I'm still working on a BritYarn kind of project, checking out some yarn, and I'm also have on the needles, which I haven't picked up for ages actually, the Lemon Difficult shawl by Kate Atherley, and that's a brioche shawl, and that's I don't know why I've not shown you it actually. I should probably, I'll have to try and remember to show you it next time. Basically, it's a brioche shawl designed for beginners, who are, you know, anybody who's new to brioche. And I'm doing it in some stash that I've got, and I've got some sock yarn, some non-British sock yarn from Deep Stash, and I've got some Blacker Elegance that I won last year, so that's what I'm doing mine in. Ooh, what's next? So that's the jam pan. So yeah, the other thing I want to show you, again, if you follow Louise from the Knit British podcast and blog, you will know that Louise is doing a breed swatch along. And obviously this is really, really interesting to me. Basically, Louise is getting, it's a knit along, but it's a swatch along. So basically you're knitting swatches in the yarn of your choice, but the yarn has got to be a pure breed yarn, so it can't be a blend of anything like that. It's got to be undyed, and it's got to be British if you live in Britain, or if you live overseas, then it's got to be local, local to you. And basically what you do is you knit your, I think what Louise is basically trying to do, because a lot of people, and I've heard people do it myself, they pick up a ball of yarn and they go, oh no, I don't like the feel of that, and put it back, and they don't kind of think any further about it because it's not soft and squishy. So what Louise is trying to do is to, I suppose, to encourage people to play. Get a ball of sort of pure breed yarn and road test it, or test drive is what Louise calls it. So yeah, basically what you do is you and there's no end date to this swatch along. It's very much open ended, and I think Louise is collating the information as well. Basically, you basically say what you're gonna, what yarn you're gonna knit with. So my first one was actually the Jacob from West Yorkshire Spinners. And you make a few notes on your Ravelry project page about how the yarn feels and how it looks. I'm just going to fetch over some of the notes that Louise has made. So yeah, you write down on your Ravelry notes the breed of yarn, what it was, what the spin is. Was it worsted or woolen spun, if that's information's available, what weight it is. Oh, excuse me, I've been a bit coldy, I think, lately as well. And basically what it feels like in the ball. Then you cast on, and you make a note of what your needle size was and everything. And then you do your swatch. So I cast mine off last night. And you're not going to be able to see this very well, I don't think. This is unblocked. So I've done some stocking stitch, a little bit of lace, and then just some basket weave to try and show some texture. So you do that, and then you block it. Make notes on how it behaves after it's been blocked, and then what Louise is getting people to do is to actually wear it. So maybe pop it in your trouser band, or what I tend to do when I'm testing things like this is I just pop it, shove it down the arm, put my sleeve over it. So yes, to do that, and then you sort of report back, you make some notes, and then you block it again, because obviously lots of yarns do change after a period of time. If you're interested in that, I'll definitely recommend you check out Louise's blog. She's done several blog posts about it and a podcast about it, and also just to follow, have a look at the chatter in the Knit British Ravelry group as well. So yeah, that is my unblocked Jacob Swatch. So I think we're getting towards the end. A few other things I just wanted to mention. From next week, the beginning of next week, I'm going to slightly change my delivery terms and conditions. And I just wanted to mention it here because I want to make sure everybody's aware, basically. And in reality, nothing's going to change. The costs aren't changing or anything like that. But what I've always said is that I'll get people's orders out the same day that I receive the order, providing it's before I've been to the post office or the next working day. But what I've realised is obviously that doesn't allow me any time for any holidays or anything like that. So what I've basically said is that'll still happen. But on very rare occasions, it may take up to 5 working days to post an order. And that is really, really going to be a rare exception that it would ever take that long to post an order. But what it might mean in reality is that it might take me a day longer. For example, if I've gone away for long weekends and, you know, I'm not back until late Monday and I've gone Friday morning, then, do you know what I mean? That's all it really means. And, you know, basically if there's going to be any significant disruption, then I'll make sure, obviously everybody would know anyway. But it was just basically, I just wanted to make everybody just highlight the fact that I am going to slightly change that. But in reality, there is no change, if that makes sense. So that was that. I think the last final thing is just to say, myself and Louise from the Knit British, Louise Scully from the Knit British podcast, was interviewed by Claire Devine for an article in the Knitter magazine. It's in issue 90, which I think it came out a couple of weeks ago actually. I've only just managed to get hold of a copy. Trying to get Knitter magazines where I live is a bit of a nightmare at times. If you've got that, then check it out. And if it's something you're interested in reading, then it's a really good article actually that Claire's written about. I suppose knitting local and about provenance and about where, I suppose just thinking, it's one of the things that, you know, I don't insist people obviously knit with British yarn, but I suppose it's just getting people just to maybe, before they make that purchase, just to sort of think, where did that yarn come from? You know, and if you're never sure, always check. I've had quite a few conversations with people recently who have, and I've done it myself to be fair, but, you know, maybe made a bit of a presumption, maybe because of where the company's based. So all I'd say is never presume anything. And if it's not really clear on the label, for example, where that yarn has come from, always ask. Never just presume that because a business is based in Britain that yarn is British, because that isn't the case. Soapbox issue. That was all. That was all there. Gosh, sometimes I get ranty, don't I? So I think that's it for me. Thank you ever so much for watching. Obviously, I know I keep saying it each time, but obviously you can find us on Ravelry. We're on Twitter, Instagram, both as BritYarn. We've obviously the website. Our shop is www.brityarn.co.uk, and we've also got a blog as well, and the blog you can get to through the shop as well. Thank you very much for watching. I was wondering as well if anybody, I know quite a few different podcasters do this, so I'm not sort of wanting to copy or anything, but if anybody's got any questions they'd like me to answer perhaps on the podcast, or anything they'd like me to discuss, then drop me a line on Ravelry. Or what I might do actually, I might create a Ravelry thread. So if you've got any questions perhaps about my knitting or about yarn or whatever, I mean, there's obviously a few things that I probably wouldn't answer, but yeah, if there is anything out there that, you know, you do want answering, then yeah, drop us a message on Ravelry. Like I said, we'll create a thread on Ravelry as well. So I think that's everything for today. Like I say, thank you all so much for watching. I also really appreciate all your chatter in our Ravelry thread. I think this week we just went over 400 members, which it's really fab. It's I've always been a huge Ravelry fan, and what Ravelry enables us to do as knitters in terms of, you know, keeping in touch and chatting and stuff. So That's fab. Right, I am going to go because it takes me forever to upload this podcast. Thank you ever so much for watching, and hopefully I will chat to you all very, very soon. Take care, everybody. Bye.